We've got audio.
Awesome.
You're live.
Here we go. Here we go.
Hello, people.
Hello. Mick is making adjustments, as is his wont.
Yes. Oh, we need to look at it on that screen, though, don't we? Hello, everybody. Welcome to That Pedal Show viewer comments and questions, 29 June 2020.
Heavens. 29th of June. Predictions for July?
On what topic, Dan? Did you check we were on the right Wi-Fi, by the way?
Yes, I did.
Ah, cool.
I did.
Great.
Okay, roll call. We've got cheers from Boston, from Rob Flax. Cheers, Rob. Great. Portland, Oregon. Awesome. Winnipeg.
Can you read out the names, Dan?
Yes, sorry, it happened so quick. Hang on. Right, Jeff Martin from Texas. Awesome.
That's right. You're
E.
not
Wolf
from Texas.
from Winnipeg, Manitoba.
That's right. You're not from Texas. That's
Wow.
Right, you're not from Texas. Texas wants you anyway.
Sierra Shakushenka. Cheers from Minsk, Belarus.
Belarus.
Yeah, Minsk indeed.
This is Belarus calling.
Yes.
Nul point.
Privyet, indeed. From KJ Photo, cheers from the city that never sleeps until the last 3 months or so. Oh, man.
That's Swindon, is it?
That's certainly not Swindon. I believe it's from... So, because I was in New York, was it? Man, I don't even know if it was early this year or was it last year?
It was last year.
It was last year, okay.
Summer holidays, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Oh, boy. We just had the best time. All right, Makaras, Ottawa, Canada. Lawrence Bronsveld, greetings from the Netherlands. Not this, not that. Virgin Islands, wow.
Wow, British Virgin Islands.
Alex the guitarist, hello from Edinburgh. I love Edinburgh. I could live in Edinburgh and be a very, very happy man.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
I am a fan of Scotland in general.
Right, Bas Vredling, hi from Amsterdam. Flying Buddha, hello from Perth, WA. I've done some of my best gigs ever in Perth.
Yeah.
I was touring with Max Sharam back in the day, and there were some venues we played in Perth that was so beautiful. Swan River and stuff. It's just, oh, wow, what a great place.
Hank Marvin lives in Perth, doesn't he?
Does he?
I think so.
Daniel Heptig, hi from Denver. David Monos, hello fellas. Hey, David. Let's see. Frankie Holt, greetings from Muscle Shoals, Alabama.
Hey.
Hit recording capital of the world. Very
so
nice.
It is too. So it is.
Screaming out, greetings from Sweden. Stuart Tate, g'day mate.
Hello, Stuart.
Yeah, happy Monday to you too, buddy. Alistair Tweedy, Glasgow in the house, so must get to Glasgow at some point. Amish Trivetti, much love from Elkton, Maryland. Brett Hussey, hi from Medway, Kent. Akash Pipal, cheers from Slough.
John Lawrence, so we missed you, John. Now we've got you.
Dead air. Sorry, mate. Right, hang on. Here we go. Right, the first super chat for the day. BM Pietrus. Thank you so much for what you guys do. You rekindled my interest in learning guitar and made these times tuck inside so much more enjoyable. Oh, cheers, mate. You're very welcome.
Yeah, I think we could all sympathise with that or empathise with that viewpoint.
Yeah.
Has been a bit weird, hasn't it?
It has been weird.
Yeah. By the way, do you like our new T-shirts?
Very comfy.
It would be an amazing coincidence if these were available right now in That Pedal Show store. If Catherine's done the product record yet, I've only just done the photography. So new in today, denim blue because tone.
It's really nice.
Yeah, popular
very comfy.
in Canada.
These are the new
EPO1.
Yes.
They are earth positive shirts, so we're trying to move all of our stock to stuff that's a little bit better than for the planet in terms of the welfare of people who make them, and also the amount of water usage, the kind of dyes used, and all that kind of stuff. So it's the right thing, man.
It's lovely.
Yeah,
Really nice.
I actually really like the tees as well.
Yeah, no, it's so comfy.
I prefer these to the Gildans.
Right.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So yeah, thatpedalshowstore.com. We did have a question here. Steve Richardson, how many folks on here will pick up on a Eurovision, Mick? Everyone, I hope, Steve. I'm a giant fan of the Eurovision.
I can't bring myself to watch the latest Will Ferrell Eurovision movie, but I must.
Is it out?
It's out now. Yeah.
Oh, you're kidding. I know what I'm doing this week.
Okay.
I love you. I really love Eurovision.
Shout out to Mr. BV Ninja.
Yeah, thank you, BV. Thank you, Bev, for helping us out and moderating. Jane Hudson says, if it's not Scottish, it's crap. Bill Sherrington, from a tennis-free Wimbledon. Yeah.
They used to play the Walkabout in Wimbledon. I don't know even know if it's still there. It's a great gig. Loads of fun.
There was a
King Darko says, do you ever blow up pedals by putting the wrong power to it? If you do, are they hard to fix? Asking for a friend. You can indeed blow up a pedal. So if the pedal's been properly designed, generally there'll be a diode across the input power, and that will be if you put the wrong power to it or put a reverse polarity, that will blow. If you put the wrong voltage into it and a capacitor goes or something, it can be messy, but it just depends what damage is done, because reverse polarity or different voltages, it just depends on the damage.
First JHS pedal I ever plugged in, I did that.
Wrong voltage?
I can't. I think it was the wrong voltage.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Bang.
So it was a burning smell.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was nice. Now then, so for those of you joining us, welcome and thank you for joining us on this live viewer comments and questions. What we try and do is go through as many questions and comments that come in. Their super chat is on, so we tend to prioritise those for obvious reasons. We are talking in the main about Friday's show, or we always say this and we end up talking about everything else. But if you want to ask questions about Friday's show, please do, which was understanding overdrives. And we went into some detail, thanks to Dan's immense brain, about different circuit types, clipping types. A lot of the buzzwords we use a lot, well, not buzzwords, a lot of the technical terms we use a lot, like headroom, asymmetrical, symmetrical, all that kind of stuff to try and unravel that. And it's been very popular. Even though the video was an hour and a half long, we've had loads and loads of comments from people saying how much they really enjoyed it.
Yep.
And yeah, it's great.
It was, you know what? It was one of those videos. It's like, it's so in depth and but seeing the people's appetite for it and how much you will enjoy it, which sort of warmed the cockles of my heart.
Yeah.
It felt like I don't know, it felt like proper. Yeah, proper TPS.
Old school TPS.
Yeah. Loved it.
I want to say hello to Ignazio from Jensen Speakers, who is with us. And Ignazio, and I apologise if it's Ignazio or Ignazio, probably Ignazio, isn't it? Left a really great comment on our impedance video from a couple of weeks back, just about the varying weird different nature of stuff and impedance. And Jensen Speakers is really interesting, not least since we've heard the new Mesa Cali Tweed, which has got that 100-watt Alnico in it.
Right. Is that a Jensen in there?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Really cool.
Justy1220 says, can we see the impedance again, please?
Oh, I just... You can't relive classic moments.
No.
Can you?
No. Thank you, Justy, and appreciate that. So I will do Mick's interpretation of an impedance.
Okay.
There we go. So it was like this. Was that it? It's like a little hop and a...
Hands higher.
Hands higher.
And sort of more cupped in.
More cupped in.
Yeah, and higher.
Okay.
Yeah, higher.
Is that it?
More like a tree.
Oh, boy.
Wonderful.
My kids are so proud of me.
Yeah, hang on. We're missing some super chats.
Yeah, I've got them here. All right, Zamzul, is there a good alternative to the Boss PH1R phaser?
What was the difference between the PH1 and the PH1R?
I don't know.
It had an extra control, didn't it? The PH1R, maybe.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, I don't know. Phaser's definitely not my world. I think unless you want something really specific, like a phase 90, and this is someone who doesn't really understand phasers talking, I always think Walrus Audio is the place to go next. because whether it's the ARP87 delay, the Fathom reverb, or in this case, the Julia chorus phaser, isn't it? No, Lillian phaser is exceptional.
It's delicious.
Absolutely exceptional.
Right, there's a... Oh, okay, right, okay. So, the PH1R, there's a resonance control. And what a resonance control does on a phaser, very similar to... If you can see at the back, I've got my old Musitronics, which has the feedback control. It basically sends the signal back into the input, and it gives you that... it's almost ends up being a flangey type thing. It's really interesting. So the PH1R, you'd need to have that control on it as well. So let's see. I need to do some research for you.
Does the Lillian not have that?
I'm not sure if it does.
Like, what did you say? It's a regen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think, don't know. Right, Gary Turner, Mick and Dan, after last week, I want to cash everything in for a 335 Gibson. What do you think? Oh, I think yes.
Definitely.
Yeah, depending what you're cashing in, of course. But you can't go wrong with the 335, really, especially if it's fairly light and nice. Does everything.
Yeah.
Does everything. Lion Wolf. Salut.
Salut.
Salut, monsieur. There's a white 64 SG Junior on eBay for about €6,000. It has dings, but looks decent. What's a fair price and what would you spend? It's very interesting how the prices of those guitars have gone up and up and up.
It really is.
And, 5 to 6 seems about right for that.
So
they can be a lot more than that in good condition.
Yeah. I bought this back in, I want to say 2006 or 7. And the guy had it on for 3, and I've eventually got it off him for 2 because that was my absolute budget. I wasn't bartering. I just said, look, this is all I've got, and he went on eBay a couple of times over and didn't sell it. And bless him, he must have been really desperate for the money because it's the most exceptional thing. 64s are really good. They're a little bit different. This is a 61. 64 will have the lightning bolt bridge. And it'll be a 8-screw pickguard as opposed to 7-screw. And I think the heel's a bit different, but exceptional guitars. Yeah.
So simple, but so amazing. Yeah, Dan and I doing a video, all the guitars in the TPS studio that we filmed last week that will be coming up in a couple of weeks. And I think that was the guitar of the day for me. Out of all the guitars in this room, that's it.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Designed by Gary. Hi, Gary. Just want to say thanks. Had a difficult time on top of the lockdown, and you guys have been a huge help. Only recently discovered you, and I think I've watched all your videos. Great.
Wow.
I think you might have sent us something, Gary. If you did, thank you for that.
Thank you, Gary.
That's awesome. We hope you're doing okay, and thanks for being with us. That's a big deal.
Seth Culp Wrestler says, hi, gents. For years, I've coveted a 330 style thin line, Eastman Heritage Gibson. Mick has me second-guessing that. I'm wondering about a 335 style. My main guitar is a Nash Strat. I play low, medium gain with F-style amps. Thoughts?
I'm right on the border here.
Right.
So, what do you want? If you want a guitar that does most of the things that a Les Paul does, but with a bit more air in it, and is ergonomically different, I'll say different, for me better, but different, 335 is the way to go. If you want something lighter, quackier, much more resonant and alive, and a step towards a proper full-on hollow body guitar, 330. They're both totally awesome, and it just depends. So the 335 compared to the 330 has that more together, focused mid-range thing. And under gain, it will sound more like a Les Paul.
The 330 will?
No, 335.
I was going to say, right.
Comparatively speaking.
Yeah.
The 330 as a looser mid-range, much sort of more, much looser bunch of resonances in the guitar.
Yeah.
So not as tight under gain. Obviously, it will feed back more and is a step away from something like a Les Paul. So, but those the Memphis 330s they were doing with Bigsby's. I'm going to get one of those one day.
Yeah.
Just a fantastic guitar, and of course P90s, not humbuckers. So again, that changes that mid-range characteristic, more air in that single coil kind of sound. I hope that's explanatory enough.
They're quite different. They're quite different guitars. But for me, I have both. I have to have both.
Yeah. Alexander Henschel. Hi, Alexander. Charlie Brown version 4, Wampler Plexi Drive or Love Pedal Purple Plexi. Which should I choose?
Boy, oh boy.
From memory, the Purple Plexi and the Plexi Drive have got much more gain than the Charlie Brown.
Charlie Brown's quite a low gain.
Yeah, because it's based more on the previous kind of Marshalls, I think.
Yeah, if you're after the higher gain, that's the
Angry Charlie.
The Angry Charlie. Yeah.
I really like the Charlie Brown, actually.
Charlie Brown's great.
Yeah.
The Angry Charlie, the latest Andy Timmons one,
you
need to have a look at, because that's based on the Angry Charlie with that boost circuit, and it is divine.
That's what I would buy over any of those.
Yeah.
The AT.
Yeah, the AT one.
Yeah.
Michael Force, strings and t-shirt arrived. All right, nice package. Keep up the good work. Many thanks. Great show as usual. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate that, mate.
Thank you, and thanks for buying stuff from us. For anyone who doesn't know, the way that we fund that pedal show is we sell merch predominantly. Yes, we get a bit of YouTube ad money. Yes, we have preferred retailers in Andertons, and we get a bit of cash from Sweetwater. But our main income is selling t-shirts and stuff. That's how we keep it going. So thank you very much for doing that. It makes a big deal to us. And Patreon, of course. Thank you to all our patrons.
Yes, which is epic. Marvin Long says, cheers from Texas. A lad that shares mixed ginger beer condition. Thanks for what you do.
It's funny. It depends on the light, Some days it looks really proper ginger.
I would never, but actually being in the room with you and this, I would never said it was ginger.
Yeah, some days it looks like brown. Some days it looks kind of mousy, and on wherever we're sat in here, it looks very ginger, which is great. Billy Gibbons, anyone? Fabien Eriksson. Hi, Fabien. He says, with last week's show, the Simon Jarrett show, and the first Josh Scott show, you have built a proper Gainology university. Thank you. I was discussing with Dan this week, actually. Everything we've learned, I'd love to do the Ultimate Reference series.
Yeah.
So we pare it down. If you want to watch the old videos that are long and discursive, great, good. They'll always be there. We'll never take them down. But
I love
we
this
just
idea.
really pare it down.
I love this idea to the fundamentals.
Yeah, it would be really cool. 'Cause, I mean, I don't know about you, but since... bear in mind, I'd edited guitar magazines for many years before doing this. So you think you know a thing or two when you're doing that. Actually, you don't. You employ people who know what they're doing. But the amount... I've learned at least as much in doing 5 years of this than I did in 15 years of doing that.
Yeah. Well, me too.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah, definitely.
It's really cool.
Just the whole ethos of working out what's the right questions to ask, and that leads you in on a different journey, and I love that. And so it's been wonderful.
Not this,
not that. Yes.
Not this, not that. Hi guys, thank you. He says thank you, and we say thank you.
Thank you.
Curious about running keys, synth, drum machines, etc. through my board. Should I be worried about destroying my precious pedals?
No, not at all.
In fact, we were talking to Fraser. For those of you who don't know, Fraser in normal times does our audio and helps us out in and around here. Extremely talented young man. We're talking about doing a series with Fraser because the reason he got into TPS in the first place before we ever met him is because he uses guitar pedals in lots of his music production stuff. And I think that's a fantastic series.
Yes.
So if we can persuade Fraser to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love it.
The answer is no, not this, not that.
Yes.
Everything's fine, just do it.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Dylan Clay, hello from Texas. I bought a 62 Bandmaster after loving the harmonic trem from Joey Super. Recommendations for a low gain drive to push it. Oh boy. There's a couple. It depends on the frequency. If you want a low gain, really flat sounding pedal, something like what's it called? The Lightspeed is wonderful. But if you want a bit more shape in the mids, something like a Prince of Tone
Yeah.
is a really good shout.
Yeah.
It's an extraordinary sounding thing.
I think you'd be fine with any mid pushed overdrive into that.
So
amp
it depends
as well.
on if the amp is working.
Yeah.
You know, then any mid push thing is killer. But that's there is mid push in that Prince of Tone.
Yeah.
Which I think will work really well.
Everyone on the planet needs a tube screamer type, a clon type, a blues breaker type, and some sort of boost. And if you've got those bases covered, like a clean
There's
boost,
not a lot you can't do with that.
you can then mix and match and just that'll work.
Yeah.
And you'll know then which way to go for that particular. Equally, a Tweedy drive would work into a Tweedy amp,
Yeah.
depending on which one it is. But the thing you have to watch, I think the thing you have to watch with Tweed amps is the bottom end. Because of that, in most cases, but not all, there's less negative feedback in the Tweed circuit.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is they're quicker into overdrive and they're quicker into compression. And the whole thing is kind of more open. There's more bottom, there's more top, and they overdrive quicker.
Mm-hmm.
So if you stuff a load of bottom end into that, what you get is mush.
Yes.
Which is why the mid-humped overdrives can work really well
Yep.
with those things.
Yep.
So, yeah. So much to try.
Right, Nick Osborne says, Mick, you said in one of your Strat vlogs that you weren't bonding with your Black 59 reissue. How are you getting on with it now?
Oh, did I say that? I've liked it from the second I picked it up.
What, Transvan?
Yeah, Transit Van, yeah. I liked it from the
Love that
second I
guitar.
picked it up. Why wouldn't I have been bonding with it? Maybe, I think when I got it, it had the original pickups and there'd been some mods done to it and there was a treble bleed and stuff
I
like that,
see.
which I just can't get on with. So since then, it's got custom shop fat 60s in and it sounds great. It really does sound good. Having said that, the Ron Ellis 64s are probably going to go in it when I get them back off Rabia.
Okay. Very nice.
Got 9s on it at the moment. Dan and I did a video called 10 Things You Asked Us to Try. And one of them is play with light strings, so I put 9s on it and it's really stratty.
You can hear it from here.
Yeah.
Squank.
Yeah. No, I love it. It's actually, as far as the actual guitar, body, the neck, all of that, it's the best Strat I own. But I'm sort of more bonded with blue, really.
Christopher Meakin says, when stacking overdrives, how do you approach setting the EQ on each pedal? Do you tend to set one darker than the other? For example, OCD and Morning Glory. Okay, so the Morning Glory is like the blues breaker type thing. OCD is like a Marshall and box type thing. If you were stacking those two, it depends on the job I want them to do. So, for example, we did a show on OCDs like a long time ago, and actually works great as a boost. And if I was using that as a boost, I'd probably I'd probably have the tone a little bit more on the nose, because just the way that the Morning Glory compresses. So I want to sort of cut through that. Yeah. So stacking overdrives is so interesting.
I tend not to. This is going to sound weird. I tend not to think of the tone control on overdrives as EQ. It's tone.
Yeah.
Because I get the EQ I get is from the pedal. So if it's a tube screamer or a clon or a blues breaker style or whatever it is, that pedal has its EQ.
Yep.
And the tone is there as a fine tuner.
Yep. Totally.
And on any overdrive pedal, but once you get into pedals that have got bass and treble, that's different.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's a single tone control, that tone pot needs to be at the point where it's not too woolly and not too sharp and nowhere else.
Yep. Yeah.
It sounds like stupidly obvious, doesn't it?
Sure.
But maybe what you're saying is, if you're then stacking it into something, do you need the only thing you would ever do if you're stacking in is boost the treble? I would have thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
You wouldn't make it woollier.
Sure, and I think that poses the question of, if you do that, then that pedal in a standalone situation almost becomes unusable. You know what I mean? Because you're changing the fundamental
Yes.
characteristic of the pedal. So
Good
as,
point.
as to how it works in your rig. So, you know, things like, you know, if I'm stacking overdrives, that it'll be specific things to stack.
Yeah.
You know, like I'll have my favorite example is a treble booster into my hotcake. You know, I'd never use the treble booster without a gain stage after it. Yeah, but actually finding those pedals that sit on their own and also sound great stacked together is challenging. Yeah, that's something to explore, actually.
Yeah. What about tone when you're stacking overdrives? There's a show. Miguel Pesanha. Miguel Pesanha, and I apologise if we've said that wrong. Mick and Dan, what did you guys study at uni?
I studied music. I went to the Conservatoire of Music and did, what was the course called? I can't even remember now. But it was like jazz.
Playing all the wrong notes and getting away with it.
Ron Notes.
Ron Notes, BSc. I did social sciences, so I did politics, economics, media studies, all those, but I did my final years in critical media studies. So I studied a lot of news media and all that stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah, mass communications, you might want to say.
Right.
And at the time, when I went to do social sciences, everyone laughed.
Okay.
Because it's like one of those flowery degrees that's pointless.
No one's laughing now, Mick.
No one's laughing now. Tell me what's more relevant than mass communications theory at this point in history,
Yeah.
Dan, apart from economics, medicine, and all the really important things like building and architecture.
Oh, okay. Wow. We've got 990 people watching us.
Man,
now,
I promise we are trying to get to everyone. There is a ton of people on today. So let's go straight to Johnny 8 Dejenon. Johnny 8 Dejenon says, any advice on how to choose a cab to go with my orange OR15 head? Interested in a vintage classic tones and play bluesy alt rock with C standard tuning. Oh, cool. Very cool. Yes. If you like really compressed, crapped out, filthy, indistinct tones, get something low powered and low efficiency. For example, a greenback. So you'd have 25 watts at 96, 97 dB, something like that. If you want more clarity, more low end punch, it's more strident mids, and just generally less squash and crapping out, get a higher power speaker with a higher sensitivity stroke efficiency rating. For example, Celestion Vintage 30, rated at 100 dB and around 60 watts. If you really want to just hear absolutely everything the amp's doing with no coloration, go for something like an EV, like a 200 watt, 100 dB speaker. Yeah.
It's incredible the difference it will make.
Yeah.
Between those.
You won't believe. Well, you will believe.
You won't believe.
You won't believe it. What I would go for I would go for a Celestion Vintage 30 because I think a lot of orange amps.
Let's tick so many boxes, that speaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you like it really crapped out and breaking, greenback would be great.
Definitely.
I haven't heard any orange amps with Alnico speakers, so I don't know how that would go.
We're 998. Come
Okay.
on.
Good luck, Johnny.
Daniel Webb. So we've got 1,000. Oh my goodness. Right. Sorry. I've just never seen that many people on before. This is amazing.
Brian Brownhill. Is there a chance for an in-depth pickup discussion? Maybe dissecting the construction of a Strat pickup and demoing different coil materials, Alnico types, wind count. I would really love to do that, but we'd need to go to somebody to do it, I think.
Yeah.
Doing it here would be not possible. So
Where does Ron live?
San Diego.
San Diego.
So yeah, we could. I mean, there's some great pickup makers here in the UK. We could go visit. So we should do that.
Okay.
Yeah. The danger is, and I've done this, and I'm still doing it. I'm buying pickups going, these are going to sound exactly like that.
Right.
Stick them in the guitar and go, oh,
Yeah.
that's not what I was expecting at all.
Yep.
So but yeah, great idea, Brian. Great idea.
Daniel Webb. asks, should I put my Ripley Fall before or after my Walrus Monument? What about my MXR carbon copy? Currently drives into Ripley, into Monument, into carbon copy. I would actually go drives into Ripley, into carbon copy, then into Monument.
Agreed.
There you go.
The Ripley Fall is an absolutely all analog, beautiful sounding thing. You don't want,
Unreal.
You don't want that after. I mean, the Monument is. I think it's an analog circuit, but there's digital stuff in there, isn't there?
I think there's digital manipulation. I think it is actually an analog circuit.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
In any case, tremolo, harmonic tremolo, you want that last anyway.
You do.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you want it after delay. You want it. Yeah. And again, carbon copy, wonderful sounding thing. Do just try, depending on what you use your carbon copy for. If you use it for a slapback or a really short delay, try it before everything.
Try it right at the front.
Right at the front. Honestly, a delay before overdrives is just such a cool sound. If you use it in a more traditional sense for longer repeats and stuff, you probably want it after. But yeah, Dan, as you would expect, nail on the head. Drives, Ripley Fall, carbon copy, Monument. As a start point.
Yes. Justy1220 says, speaking of hollow body guitars, how's the Sheraton coming along, Mick?
It's a Casino, not Sheraton. And it's coming along great. I've got... Here it is.
So cool.
These, as you'll see in every guitar in the TPS Studio video that's upcoming, are so horrifically microphonic it makes it almost impossible to play. Makes it kind of... and so I've got some Lollas with plastic covers that are here, but the guitar is going to be refinished and I'm just trying to work out how we do that. So it's going to be another couple months at least. But yeah, and I'm so looking forward to having this guitar done.
Okay. Ingold TD says, my Music Man 112 RP65 is solid pre and 6L6s.
Yep.
I had that amplifier.
So did
I
my
had the
mate
2x10
Steve Atkins.
version.
Yeah.
Messer Black Shadow speaker. Mixed comp trick is great for sag and less spike, but I want a different voice. I like vintage 6V6 and EL84 amplifiers. Will a tube preamp speaker swap help, or should I just get the amps I want? You can do things like putting a valve preamp in the front of that. So I had that amplifier and it was amazing. What a magic amp with pedals. Just awesome. But it will always have the flavor of that amplifier to it, no matter what pedals you stick in front of it. It's like an AC30. It's always going to sound like an AC30 no matter what you stick in front of it. That especially the character of that preamp, which is beautiful. I would say if you specifically want that type of sound, go and grab a Princeton or something and then pair it with the Music Man.
Yeah,
you will be in absolute heaven.
There you go. I think Princeton's a really great shout.
Yeah.
Really, really great shout. What a blooming brilliant amp that is. Why haven't we got one done?
There are reasons.
Yeah.
Paul West says, Dan, you need to congratulate Paul Davids on his matchless HC30 and cab. Good stuff, guys. Keep it up. As a matter of fact, I was texting with Paul last week before the video came out, and he says, because we were talking about the matchless recently, actually when we were in Germany, and he texted me and says, I got it. I'm like, he's like, he asked me how I'm liking mine. I was like, and he did the video on his, and it's, oh man, have you seen it?
No.
Oh, it's awesome. It's so good.
What colour
did
you go for?
He's got exactly the same amp as mine.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So yes.
If on the highly unlikely situation you don't know who Paul Davids is, please check him out on YouTube. He is an astonishingly good guitar teacher and educator and all those things, and he makes awesome videos across loads of subjects, and he's got the number of subscribers that would attest to that. Millions. He's got millions.
He does.
Paul Davids. Nick Larson, I'm looking for a new dual drive pedal to push my crunchy YBA1 into thick crunchy distortion. Suggestions? D&M drive? Yes. Something while I wait for a KOT, for a King of Tone.
in actual fact, the D&M drive is a really good shout for that.
We do try not to push the D&M drive, but it was the first thing that came to mind because you've got two stages, obviously one then the other, which are very different in gain structure, all both together. D&M drive is a great shout. If you want something that's not as expensive, what are we going to say, Dan? Actually, the Dane.
The Dane is a really good one as well.
Which is as expensive, but the Thorpe the Dane, Pete Honoré's pedal, that is exceptional. Less gain than the D&M drive.
The dual thing is...
This is blooming awesome, but you might not want your King of Tone once you've heard it. Double Dreamer from Jam Pedals. Really spectacularly good.
Yeah, that's great.
There's so many great dual overdrive pedals out there.
I think the King of Tone is obviously a wonderful shout.
Yeah.
We had Mick's one that Mick hadn't used for a while because I've still got mine on my board at home. And man alive, we were getting some just stellar sounds out of that thing.
It is, there you go, Herculean by Mythos.
Oh,
depending where you are in the world, that is really, really great blues breaker derived thing. Gladio, yeah, hard to get though, and really expensive.
I find it difficult framing thing with the price thing, and why is that? I think, man, that thing is crazy.
Here you go. I've been dreaming about this, Dan.
Right. Yes. Yes. And yes. So much yes.
Add a fuzz to that.
And you're done.
That is everything.
Yeah, the dualist is
everything.
Just wonderful. I love that.
Look at that. Look at that. It's funny, isn't it? Because everyone will be going, "Oh my god, how much does that cost?"
Yeah.
It's like those four pedals will last literally the rest of my life.
Yep.
I bought an old banger today because I've decided to do Bangonomics. Dan and I both bought new cars a few years ago, just because we'd never done it before, so we thought we'd do it. On finance, obviously. I don't have the cash to just go out and buy a new car. And for the first year is blooming awesome with a new car.
So much fun.
It's just like, wow, there's a new car. And then it's just painful after that.
Yep.
Because it's costing you a lot of money. You're scared to put miles on it. Every time somebody opens their door on you in Sainsbury's, So I've decided I'm going to go the complete opposite way and do Bangonomics for a little while. Car that I can just afford to buy and run. And as long as it doesn't go too wrong, it'll get me from A to B. That car has cost me more than I have ever spent on any guitar.
Yeah, right.
And I think I'm like buying not exactly the worst car, but I'm buying a really average old car.
Sure.
And feeling, like, wow, that's really cheap. And yet, look at a few £100 for some overdrive pedals that will last you literally your whole life and be worth more when you leave them to your kids.
Yep.
And we think that's expensive. Sorry, that was nearly a monologue.
When I used to do building renovation back in Sydney, and I was working with a lot of tradesmen, and the amount of money that they would spend on the good tools was epic.
Yeah.
Right?
So like a really decent drill or...
Yeah, it's just, it's the guys are doing that professionally because they want to have the reliability, all that sort of stuff anyway. Also, when you look at like classical musicians, they don't blink an eye at spending 30, 40 grand on an instrument.
Well, a lot of them are mortgaged, aren't they, or loaned from kind people.
And these guys are doing it professionally, and
it's their job. Yeah,
it's their job.
Yeah.
So it's the money thing is so interesting. But one thing about they're like expensive pedals like Klons and Kings of Tone. Yeah, they are expensive, but you're never going to lose money on them. You know what I mean? They're always going to be worth.
Not significant money.
Yeah.
Anyway.
They're always going to be worth at least around what you paid for them.
I mean, even if you
know?
buy like a I don't know 3 or 4 year old average used car, you lose thousands on that.
Man.
Just thousands. And yes, everyone needs a car to get around, but I say everyone needs an overdrive pedal to make them feel happy when they wake up in the morning.
Yes, totally.
On the subject of which, Working Man's Band, hello, says, what's your favourite clean pedal platform amp? I play in a country blues band and need the cleans for country, but use pedals for overdrive tones. Depends how loud you play. If you play at sensible, normal, modern, not too loud volumes, 65 deluxe reverb.
Yep. Mid 70s, 100 watt, high watt, I would say. For the see, there's different flavors to the country thing, isn't there? Because if like something like the Matchless, as a the clean sound, the way it takes pedals, absolutely divine. If you want the more Fender thing, man, a couple of Princetons or that sort of approach to it will just be magic.
Yeah, basically any Mesa with a clean channel.
Yeah, sure.
If you're in the States, good, Lone Star Special.
Yeah.
But that again, that's quite a lot of money. So I don't know what your budget is. If you're lucky enough to have a bit of spendy, then look at the Morgan SW22 or 35. Is it? Is that what it's called? Anyway, the SW.
Right.
A bit dumbly. There's a lot out there, but yeah, if you just want the straight down the middle, this will absolutely work as long as you don't play it crazy loud. Fender 65 deluxe reverb.
Mate, we have got so many super chats.
So we need to
unbelievable.
We need to catch up.
We need to get on it. Far out, man. Hang on, sorry. Right.
Ben Keane is
Ben
next.
Ben Keane.
Thank you for answering my question on the V40D versus Cali Special versus Super Duchess. Guess what? V140 Super Duchess.
Yes.
You'll never be sorry.
No,
Ben.
that's well done. That's awesome.
You'll never be sorry.
Right, Tool Fan 46 and 2 says, hello gents, after watching the JHS Fuzz show, I'm in the mood for a Mark III style pedal, but I'd like one in a more modern enclosure. What other Mark III style pedals do you recommend in a small closure that compare to the Juju? That compared to the Juju, I don't know. The Mark III is such a specific tone bender. To be honest, if that's the sound that you want, and you don't want a Juju and you don't want the JHS one, go and have a look at Creepy Fingers. Right, okay. Amazing boutique pedal brand from the States called Creepy Fingers, and he makes loads of really awesome fuzz, and specifically things based around like the old, the tone bender type thing. So I'm sure he'll do a Mark III that's bang on. He's actually, do you remember the band Fu Manchu?
Yeah.
He's the bass player from Fu Manchu.
Yeah.
So so anyway, go and check those out, because his enclosures are I don't think they're as small as the Juju, but they're still compact, and they are fantastic and very, very reasonably priced. Yeah. There we go.
Amish Trivedi, for home use, do I want the AC15 with greenback speakers or the one with one Alnico Blue? Same cost but unsure.
I would say well, for me,
he's talking about the 2x12 AC15
or the 1x12.
Or the 1x12, yeah.
For home use, I'm gonna say 1x12.
Yeah, with blue.
The Alnico Blue at home, it's gonna give you everything that you need, and at certainly workable volumes. It's just
212's really nice. You get a bit of extended bottom end, and the whole thing just sounds bigger and less boxy.
Yeah. But it really comes in. The 212 thing really comes into its own when you can turn it up.
Yeah.
And get it working. I would say for home thing, the 1x12. It's actually the 1x12 AC15 is a stunning amplifier.
Yep. Rob Symington, hey fellas, hope you're doing well. Speaking of ODs, I can wholeheartedly suggest that Earthquaker Devices Plumes, one of the best ODs to come out recently. Can do the TS well thing, but just about everything else. Yeah, agreed. Because
Yep.
I think that has the switchable diodes or at least it has different clipping options.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really great.
Really good.
Everything they do is good.
Jeremiah McCann. Dan, have you ever adjusted the internal trims in your Hartman flanger? You can turn it into a beautiful chorus pedal. Still retains all the highs. I haven't. Why didn't I? I had a clock noise issue with the Hartman, and I did loads of stuff to try and get rid of it. I think so. What you're talking about with the trimmer is changing the delay time, extending that delay time. But no, it was sort of set in the right spot. I just really didn't want to mess with it, and I ended up. What did I do? I think I put a transformer or something on the output, and some really tiny caps across it to try and filter out some of the noise. Because the one that I had just noise-wise was a real issue. I got rid of most of it, but no, I might do that then because I don't use it much now because I got the Thorpe one.
Yeah.
So I'll have an experiment and see.
Have a go.
Yeah.
Josh, we should stick that on the list. 10 more things you want us to try.
Okay, yeah,
How are we
great.
going to remember that? Catherine, if you're watching, can you write that down, please? Dan, 10 more things you've asked us to try. Dan's Hartman flanger.
Great.
Josh Bamey. Josh, hi Josh, and thank you for that. He says, any suggestions for gain stages for a telly into a 112 Princeton? I use a broadcast with the gain cranked NRG Humper 1981 drive at low gain. Looking for another gain stage, but not sure what. You need something mid-humped, because everything you've got there is fairly... Oh no, the Humper is mid-humped, isn't it? That's why it's called Humper.
Yes. And the DRV, I don't...
So that's a Rat, a mid-boost, and a broadcast, which is a transistor drive. So you just need an all-round overdrive pedal.
Okay. Very difficult to go wrong with that.
Yeah, Dan's going to say light speed.
Yep. It's just so good. Shout out to Nick. Legend. Amazing sounding thing.
Yeah, Dan's going to say light speed. I'm going to say... I'm going to say a Klon style.
Okay. Nice.
Because it's my favourite kind of overdrive pedal. So either J Rocket Archer, Wampler Tumnus Deluxe, or Ryra the Clone. There we go.
Love Pedal Eternity would also be a good one. It is mid humped though, but it sounds great into those.
Andy Sandel. Should I stick with my TC Flashback 2 or get the Caroline Kilobyte? I can't stop stalking online to complement my new Strymon Flint, which has become my new favourite pedal ever. So Flashback 2 or the Caroline Kilobyte.
Have you seen the Caroline?
I've never played it.
Right, now we need to get one in because all the clips I've seen, man alive.
Depends what you use the flashback for. You know,
Yeah.
what delay sound you kind of go for. What does a kilobyte do? What is it?
Yeah, the delay.
Anything specific about it? Is it an analog delay? Is it a...
To be honest, I think so. Just the sounds of it, just heard people getting out of it. I mean, the Caroline stuff generally, they're such a cool company.
Okay.
And their designs are so creative and stuff. So it's like one of those creative delays that you can do quite a few things with.
Right.
But yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm going to reach out to them and see,
Yeah.
because I'd love to get some of their stuff on the show.
Yeah, it really depends what sound you're using it for, Andy. And
Yeah.
I'm sorry if we glossed over that a bit. If the Caroline Kilobyte is an analog delay, and I don't know that it is, the Caroline. So i.e. the TC does all the digital delays really good. It does, it's a master of jack of all trades, master of none. So if you use it for one specific sound, your next delay pedal should be the one specific sound, the best there possibly is in that world.
Yeah, it's a lo-fi delay.
Is it?
Kilobyte, yeah.
Okay. Yes, then. If you like lo-fi, more analogy type delays, then definitely the TC Flashback is okay, but you will find something more upmarket to be considerably better. Yeah, I don't know. I can't recommend something I've never played before. I'd get the Jam Pedals Delay Llama.
That's a really good shout.
Bodie Demers, you helped me pull the trigger on a Volante. Massive thanks for that. It's an inspiration machine that makes you just play more. Did make all my problems disappear. Yeah, in a couple of weeks, you'll see the Volante in much more detail when Dan and I do the multi-head delay issue where we look at the Space Echo, the Echo Fix, the Volante, and the Boss RE20. And interesting it was too.
Yes, that was so much fun.
Chris James, how do you use your LR bag session DI? Do you chain pedals ahead of the DI? Do you go dual output from the LR bags to maybe an amp and house? We only had the session DI long enough just to do that show, so I don't actually use that. I use my AER Compact 63. I guitar into that. Direct feed.
Yep.
Front of house.
And that's one of the best amplified acoustic sounds I've ever heard.
Oh, bless you.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, far out, man. You got the Collings,
Dan's approach to acoustics is a little less traditional. So you were using all kinds of normal guitar pedals, weren't you?
Yeah. I was using blues drivers and stuff, because I was using gain, and I was doing loud gigs with the acoustic with a drummer, and we had so Doug and I, the TVS drummer, we did a duo for 10 years called the Bipolar Bears, and I always bring that up because it always makes him chuckle. But it was loud. We would do these rock gigs, and so with loopers and I'd have every now and then I'd bring the Laser J20 and have a line out of that into it as well. But yeah, it was very much not a strummy acoustic thing. It was trying to make it sound like a band.
Yeah. But the question, so do you chain pedals ahead of the DI? No, I would put the DI last because you're affecting everything before that. I know it's got some extra overdrive and stuff like that, but I would personally put the DI last.
Yes, definitely.
Adam Loke, great show on Friday. Thank you.
Thank you, mate.
I'm looking to replace my OCD. Anything you would recommend? Other gain stages are a Keeley Katana and a Bogner Burnley. Oh, nice. Strats into a Marshall Astoria combo. Yeah, so what does the OCD do really well? It's like a really good Marshall-y, fairly well across the frequency spectrum, quite quick.
Yes.
If you have it in the HP mode, I don't know if you do, that's where I tend to like it. It's really fast and just, I don't know, really ampy.
Yeah.
So something...
Again, the Andy Timmons, the latest Andy Timmons 80 plus, I would say.
Depending
I
on
think
how much gain you
amazing.
use with it. What would I mean, Prince of Tone.
It depends how much gain.
Yeah.
It depends. Yeah, but the Prince of Tone.
Yeah, exactly what he said. If you use it low gain, Prince of Tone, great.
Yeah.
If you like the higher gain sounds, what he said.
Yeah. Or the Purple Plexi.
Yeah.
Is really good at the high gain stuff.
It's so hard, isn't it? There are so many fantastic overdrive pedals out there.
Yeah, but for specifically that one, There's also like the
Thorpe Gunshot.
Thorpe Gunshot. That's a great shout.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, that is quite hard. Any really good blues breaker style that's got enough gain,
Right.
is kind of partly there, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Good luck with that, Adam.
Yep.
Rob R. Looking into a pedal switcher. I need at least 10 loops, 4 of which need to be stereo. Any thoughts, and are there plans to add more stereo loops to the G2 or future gig rig products?
Right. So 10 loops, 4 of which need to be stereo. So yeah, G2 only has 2 stereo loops. I mean, I'm always, messing around with stuff. At the moment, your options for 4 stereo loops, I think, is quite limited. I'll tell you what,
You could.
I'm going to research that because you can put more than one stereo pedal in a loop.
Yes.
And if they're MIDI controlled, then you can control it that way. But it's sort of I don't know. Seems a bit of a cheat to me. Yeah, but there must be some better options for stereo people. I'll have a look at that, Rob. But thank you very much, mate. That's very kind. Stephen Dixon, help please. Finished my new board. All pedals and isolated power supply and is super quiet, low noise and lovely. But when I turn down the guitar volume, a bit on any guitar, I get hum and noise. Any ideas on cause or fix? So
On any guitar.
On any guitar. So you need to have a look at your first stage. So, right, the way your volume pot works, or the pot on your guitar works, when your volume is all the way up, right, or all the way down is when you have the least amount of impedance. But as soon as you go in that middle area is when the impedance changes. So I would say you need to have a look at your initial gain stages and see if you've got an always on thing, or not. It's just like, try this. Put a clean pedal like a boost or whatever at the front, and just turn it on and see if you still get that same problem. Something that's got a high input impedance, because it sounds to me like there's something's not being driven properly.
Yeah. It only ever happens to me when I use fuzz face.
Yeah, because
Has very low
because that
input
they
impedance.
the low input impedance.
So one question might be, is the first pedal in your chain a fuzz? And if it is, that may well be what's causing it. And to test that, just take the first pedal out of the chain and see if that makes any difference.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah.
There you go.
Andre Scott, just wanted to say thank you for all the inspiration, information, laughs, and above all, tone. You two are legends. Well,
that's very kind, mate. Thank you.
Leg ends probably, but thank you, Andre. That's very kind. Robert Brewer, greetings from the Twin Cities of Minnesota Chaos. I've started a modest Boss pedal collection. Do you have any favourite, uncommon, eccentric Boss pedals I should add?
Yes.
I got two.
Yes. So, I'll have my two. And the two I found when we were in Japan, one is the DSD2, the digital delay sampler, DDS or DSD2. Anyway, it's basically a DD2 in a different box, and you can, because it's got the sampler thing as well. It's not as well known, and you get them a lot cheaper than the original, and they have that circuit in it, and it's unreal. So that's that one, the digital delay sampler 2. The other one is the dual overdrive.
Oh, wow.
Which I love. So I'm actually playing with that at the moment at home because I got that from Japan. And you've got two like different overdrive circuits in it. And they're a little bit different from each other. And they don't really sound like anything else that I've heard from Boss. It's awesome. There's this thing in one mode where you don't have to be particularly high gain, but the feedback it just brings out, it's killer. So that's my two, DSD2 and the dual overdrive.
Okay, I'll go with Slow Gear.
Oh, yeah.
Which you may already have if you're a Boss collector. And the DC2 Dimension Chorus.
Yeah, magic. Ty Roberts, congrats on the 1,000 plus today, gents. Cheers from Colombia.
Thanks, Ty.
Thank you, Ty. Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. This is amazing.
Yeah, we are crazy
Mondays.
busy today. So I promise you, we are trying to get through, and we are prioritising the super chats for obvious reasons. Brad says, hello from Orlando, looking for a compressor for solo boosts, clean and dirty. Is any type of comp better for that than others?
So if you're putting your compressor compressor at the front of your chain is very different to the compressor after your gain. But for solo boosts, man, it depends on how the compressor is voiced, whether you want a clean blend in with that, which can really help with solo stuff. I used to love my old Dynacomp with the output up high and the actually compression down quite low, just as a boost. It's just was wonderful. Sort of rounded off, kept it squashy but not crazy squashy. But that was a really old, like 76, Bud Box Dynacomp. For a boost specifically, something more studio-y, like the LA2A type thing. The Union Tube transistor has it's more the limiter side of things, which I was playing with last week.
You get a great boost out of it.
And oh my goodness, it is unreal. It's it's very produced, but it just, as a booster, it sounds crazy. But of course, the Cali 76 as a booster, but you want really high quality compression in there as well. Absolutely magic.
I'm not much a fan of compressors, and when I use them, I use either one of those.
I bought this week a couple of old Yamaha pedals. I bought a compressor and a limiter.
Really?
From a really early Yamaha series. And I've been playing with the limiter this week, and man alive. So I'm going to do a show on the difference between compression and limiting and when are appropriate. But the limiter, because the other thing that made me think about it was the Union Tube transistor one.
It's called the Union Tube and transistor one.
And it's totally different.
Yeah.
And I had a chat to Paul Stacey about that this week. He says in studios you use compression for recording and limiting for mixing.
Yeah, right, okay.
So it's really, really interesting.
Right, Rugaspari 12345678890. Rugaspari 12345678890 says, "Hey guys, I'm looking for a sound that's like David Gilmour, which to me sounds like it has lots of gain, but is like straight without many crackles or dirt. I don't know how to call it. Any tips on how to get that?"
Yes. So the one thing I would say is Mick and I are either of us are not great big fans of speaker distortion. When you hear that the speaker fuzz and things, it can be really cool, but for that really big sound, having that speaker crackle in there is not awesome, I would say. So make sure that the speakers, like so if you think of the crescendos that David G uses in his rig, massive high powered things that can take what the high watts are doing, still very bright, but they don't fizz and fart. Like
Headroom, isn't it?
Headroom. It's headroom. So
It's
make sure
headroom.
that every stage that you go through has got enough headroom to deal with what you're doing.
And David's sound is so sculpted
Yeah.
with EQs and all the way. I mean, just look at his pedal board, for goodness sake. Every single little corner of that sound is really sculpted.
The interesting thing as well is like Phil Taylor that works for David. I think so. Phil has been the only full-time tech that even now is still full-time employed.
Yeah.
Because they've never stopped working. They've never stopped trying stuff. David is, I mean, his spirit of experimentation is just wonderful, and that's how they've got the sounds. They've done it properly. They haven't been, when you look at the pedals that he landed on, they weren't expensive, crazy things. He found some old, some EQs and some fuzz faces and big muffs and things. And back in the day, they were just what you could buy off the shelves, and they just experimented and found the sound. But he also, this is the really important thing, is once you find that, it's recognizing that and then working with that. It's like Derek Trucks has got his thing and has never really moved from it. He's like, this is me, I'm good to go. And it's like, if I listened to some old Van Halen records and he had that thing, and then some things later, it's like, oh, he had that and kind of lost it. Recognizing when what you found is awesome, and then embellishing that and working with that, and also recognizing that some things you find that aren't that good, or might not work that well for you.
I know what you're saying though. It's that in Gilmour's guitar sound, in his solos and stuff, there's everything, and it's thick and fat, and yet there's plenty of treble, and it's all of that, isn't it?
Just because I know I've got to get through these, but I've been thinking this week as well about David Gilmour, as I do often, and thinking about his sound and how big that sound is. There's a really great quote where he says, when he's on stage, he can sort of just lean into that sound. But if you think about the way that he plays, and it's every note is considered, like every note choice is considered, and there's nothing flamboyant or ego-driven. It's all just about, and that sound won't work for you unless you're playing like that.
That's a really good point.
You know what I mean? If you're playing shred stuff and you put on a David Gilmour sound, you're going to sound. It's going to be an absolute mess.
Yeah.
And this is something I'd love to explore because, you know, I've heard guitar players like really go for it with that sort of sound, and they're wondering what, you know, they've got the delays and all this sort of stuff happening, and when they go to do a shreddy thing, it doesn't work. But then they stick on a wah pedal, cut away all those frequencies, just leave a little bit of upper mids, and suddenly it's there. You know, so it's such an interesting thing. Right, I'll shut up.
Andrew Bentley. Hi, Andrew, and thank you for that. Speaking of delay before drive, how about a delay between gain stages? I have an always-on Effectro tube drive and use a broadcast as a dirty boost. Yeah, absolutely. Like if you want, that would work really well. So if you
awesome.
And we will answer Roberto Villegas' question in the same thing here, because Roberto says, I've got a Tube Screamer Mini, a Mythos Mjolnir, and a Love Pedal Amp 11. In what order would you connect it, considering I need a boost for solo? So, taking those two questions together,
yep.
Roberto and Andrew, the way I like to run my overdrive pedals is the gainiest thing first. So they get less gainy down the chain, which means it always gets louder.
Yeah.
Literally always gets louder. And lots of people really don't like that because they don't want it to get louder. They want it to get more distorted. So if you want it to get more distorted, put your least gainy things first and your most gainy things second. But Andrew, taking your question, if you like your gainy thing first and you want to use the delay in a more traditional manner, that's going to work great because you've got the gainy thing first, you've got the delay after, so you can do your David Gilmour solos. But if you want to use a bit of slapback into a less gainy thing, so you've got your less gainy pedal after the delay, then you've got the best of all worlds there.
Yeah.
If, however, you run them the other way around, you might find it more problematic because you'd have the delay going into a higher gain pedal, and that's where the mess comes.
Yeah.
So, and Roberto, I hope that sort of partially answers your question as well. If you want things to get louder, I would put the gainiest things first. Now, the wild card there is the Amp 11 because obviously it has got a huge amount in and it's got the second boost stage.
Yes.
So I would go Tube Screamer Amp 11 Mjolnir.
Yeah.
Would be my choice.
Yep, totally.
Yeah.
Totally agreed.
Yep.
Sean Jones, you guys are the best. Lost many hours to you. Thank you, Sean. Really appreciate that.
We've lost so many hours to us.
Man, we have indeed. He also says, I think that's the same Sean Jones. Yes. He also says, have you guys tried or have an opinion on Magnatone amps? I'm really interested in them. So when we did the show at ATB Guitars in Cheltenham, we had an original Magnatone and we turned it on and it sounded really good, but then turned on the modulation circuit and we were gone.
It's an unbelievable sounding thing. I'd love to play some of the new ones because they're obviously being made again. Somebody acquired the brand and by the looks of things is doing an amazing job. So, yeah, would be great to try one of the new ones. Tom Snyder. Hey guys, thanks for all you do. I learn about my tone every week, or I also stay broke. Yeah, us too. Question, thoughts on Nash guitars? I have a Nash 63 Strat and love it. Thoughts? Yes, of course, we can't say Nash Strat. We have to say Nash S-style guitar. I went to dinner with Bill once.
Did you?
Yeah, I had a Esquire of his.
Wow.
Which was a fantastic guitar.
Yep.
Really, really great guitar. At the time, I don't know if he still does, Bill was doing all his finishes really, really, really properly. So completely right from the ground up. So yeah, I mean...
A few years ago, I was doing some stuff for Noel Gallagher and was at his gig and he was on stage with him and he hands me this latest Nash guitar that Bill had made for him. He said, have a play of this. So I'm playing through his rig. And I'll try a couple of these because he's got a whole bunch of Nash guitars and he loves them. And every Nash S-style guitar that I've played, I've thought was awesome. But these offsets and things that I was playing were just wonderful. So they've been all the Nash guitars that I've played have been consistently fantastic. And I just wanted to drop in the Noel story. Crooked Tooth Productions. Thank you, mate. That's very kind.
Yeah. Somebody else is saying here that Brad says the Mythos Herculean is 808 derived, not Bluesbreaker derived. Okay, I didn't know that. Maybe I thought the Herculean was Bluesbreaker derived. Anyway, whatever.
Okay.
Shout out to Mythos, who have done a rebrand. Zach's rebranded. Zeus or whoever it was is gone, and he's come up with a really nice new brand and logo. So head to the Mythos Pedals website and have a look. It's really nice. He's done a great job, and boy, do they make good pedals.
They really do. Andy Milne says, would love to hear you playing through a Blackface Deluxe Reverb. I know you've only got so much room before you're rubbing your faces in the camera. Great show on Friday. Thanks for your time. Thank you, Andy. That's really generous, mate.
Crazy generous of you. Thank you.
So Mick and I have had a chat, and yes, there are some amplifiers we absolutely have to get.
Yeah, we do. I think we'll end up using it a lot if we get one.
Definitely.
Yeah.
There's a few fans like the Deluxe, the mentioned at least 3 times already.
Princeton.
The Princeton.
A Tweed Deluxe.
Yeah, yes.
Part of me would like to do that because Dan and I are aware that we play really, really loud all the time, which creates 2 issues. One is, after a whole day's filming, that can get a bit much, as wonderful as it is. 2, it's actually easy to record the smaller amps.
Yeah, right.
They often sound really great, the smaller amps.
Sure.
Especially in this sealed box that we sit in. Right, how are we doing, Dan? How are we doing on your super chats? Matt Presley, hi Matt. I found that inexpensive clone pedals will get you the sound you want, but you'll end up replacing switches and jacks and not too long.
Interesting.
That's really interesting. Yeah.
I don't know. You know what? I've replaced a fridge this week.
Yeah.
Because when we bought our house a couple of years ago, and one of the certain those American style fridges that got the. So, we didn't have a lot of money. We bought the cheapest one we could. Broke down. The first time we had to fix it was like the day after the warranty ran out.
Yeah.
And it's like, so we bought another fridge this week. And my old boss in Sydney had this thing, buy cheap, buy twice.
It's so true.
It is so true.
I bought my first house in 2000 or thereabouts. Was it after that? 2000? I don't know. It was around that kind of time, a bit after that. And was it? No, it was after that. It was after that. I can't remember the actual date. Anyway, I bought a second-hand Smeg fridge on eBay,
right,
which I hired a van to go and get. It was 300 quid for a second-hand Smeg fridge,
wow,
like over 15 years ago.
Yeah.
When I moved, I sold that fridge for 200 quid to a photo studio where it is still
working, doing its thing,
cooling things down.
Yeah.
So yeah, buy good stuff.
Yeah.
We have a Miele washing machine.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Catherine bought that 20 years ago.
Wow.
And I think it was like 800 quid 20 years ago.
Wow.
Or 700 quid anyway. And that thing just
yeah. There's nothing in it.
No.
It's just going all the time.
Yeah.
Because I can't open the door anymore. It's constantly
and of course
on.
the other big benefit in that is it doesn't get thrown away.
Yes, for sure.
Whenever you take anything to the refuse, the recycling place, unfortunately, if you do have to dispose of something, and you see that pile of stuff there, and you know that stuff's not getting recycled, it's just getting in a container and dumped somewhere in Africa, isn't it? Anyway, sorry. Politics.
Michael Force says, about old guitar purchases, I bought a Gibson 335 from 1975 back in 1986 for a little over £600. Did I write?
Yeah.
Well, I know I did. I still have it. It's a wine red beauty. Shows how old I am. Cheers.
How lovely.
Amazing.
Some of those mid-70s 335, some of them can have really super slim necks.
Right.
Some of them can be pretty heavy, but there's some fantastic guitars in there. Yeah. How lovely. How lovely. Mark Lavinish. Oh, you've gone. The first line was, what was your thoughts on the Klon KTR?
This is, I just ordered one from Bill this weekend. Have you ever featured one on the show? Very excited to get it. We haven't. Well, actually, we have. We had one on when Pete Honore was here.
Yeah.
We did his board. And they're wonderful.
How is it constructed, Daniel?
As in the design of the pedal.
Do we know if it's SMT or whether it's... I've never looked inside one.
I don't think it's SMT. I think it's through hole.
Yeah. Certainly sounded pretty good to me.
Yeah, no,
I
they're
couldn't.
great.
Everyone says
It's a really good question. I'm going to find out. Hang on.
Yeah, I don't think it sounds as good as my Klon, but
Right.
I would say that, wouldn't I? But yeah, we should get one.
Okay.
We should totally get one. Because Bill says it's exactly the same, I believe.
Right.
Soren led it. Hi, Soren. Love the Friday show. Would love to see you guys push the Tube Screamer low gained into the Klon high gained. Oh, that's interesting. That's really... I have never actually tried that.
Okay. That's a great
I think
idea.
it would really squash the Tube Screamer to a really unpleasant place. But
Let's try it. That's great. Put that on the list.
Put that on the list of
On the
things.
list.
Yeah, there's a video upcoming called 10 Things You Asked Us to Try. So in 10 more things you asked us to try, that's going on the list. We've got 2 from today's show. Mick, what's your watch? It looks like a Panerai. It's not Panerai. If I could afford a Panerai, I'd have more vintage Strats. And no Panerai. It is a Citizen Grand Touring that I saw in an outlet village. And it was really cheap for what it is, because it's full on auto, right? It's a nice watch. Proper automatic movement, decent sapphire crystal glass. But obviously it is a nod to Panerai. And my lovely wife bought it for me.
Ah.
I really love this watch. Yeah.
What's that scene in Dirty Rotten Scoundrels where he gives him his watch to get the room for the night, and then John Candy goes up and says, I don't have any money, but I do have Casio.
There was always that. Where did that come from? Where they said your Rolex can get you back from anywhere in the world? Where did that come from?
Oh, I don't know. That's very good.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks, Soren. No,
Yeah.
it's not a Panerai. And as I said, if I could afford a Panerai, I would have more vintage Strats.
Thank you, Ian Cunningham. Thank you, mate. M. Pikers says, hello, I'm a newish player, currently using a Strat and an Orange 20RT. I want to add pedals to my setup. Should I keep the 20RT or get a small tube amp like a Bugera V5? I only play at home and at low volume.
I'm just looking at what the Orange 20 RT is.
Okay. Did we have something? Did we have one? It's the transistor version. I think we had it.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Pikers, M Pikers. The thing that you will benefit from most is something that is physically bigger. So as good as that 20 RT can sound, it's a small cabinet, it's an 8-inch speaker.
Yep.
So it's always going to sound kind of very mid-focused and quite boxy, which you may love. And if you do love that, stick with it. However, we would thoroughly recommend, if you have the space, getting a slightly bigger open back cabinet with either a 10-inch or preferably a 12-inch speaker in it.
Yes.
And you'll find that that does more for the sort of bigness and the fullness of your sound than maybe upgrading the amp. But obviously, if you're going to do that, you need to upgrade the amp. We like this thing.
We really like this.
Yeah.
It's great. It's a 5 watt. On the back, you've got switch between 5 watt, 1 watt, and 0.1 watt. So as a little pedal platform, it's great, treble and bass, and it also has reverb in it. And we've used it in a couple of shows, and we get some great sounds out of this.
Yep.
Great. I think that's a really good shout.
Yep.
A 1x12 cab, open back cab, and that is a really good place to start. Because once you've got the thing with pedals is, if what you're looking to do is get into pedals, that's awesome. But you need to get your platform that you want to put those pedals into sorted. Because if that isn't sorted, then you're going to be constantly frustrated.
Yeah.
You're going to be trying to get sounds that the amplifier just isn't capable of producing.
Yeah.
But
because the EQ curve is so strongly shaped by that tiny speaker and tiny box.
yes, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
And
there you go. It's a
I
good
would
shout.
also say for playing at home, an open back cabinet's a good idea because you just get more kind of emanation of sound and the whole thing sounds more 3D, I guess. Ian Cunningham. Hello from Tucson, Arizona. Hello. Can you please confirm at least that the massive secret pedal is a Hudson broadcast? And can you please try to convince Mr. Hudson to put it up for sale? Thank you. We can't confirm that. What we can say is that the discussions we've had about that pedal are that everyone wants to do it, but everyone is so busy getting the thing to market. We just need to get our crap together and make it happen.
Ducks in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a really good thing that really should be available. So maybe that's a kick up the arse from us from Ian there. Thank you, Ian.
Sure.
Snails, hey, how are you? Josh, good to have you on, man. Hey guys, bit extra on the negative feedback for everyone. Op amps have 2 ins. Phases are inversed. Sending peaks into the second input cancels peaks smoothly at the output, which is soft clipping.
Mm-hmm.
Buffers connect to the second in for 0 gain amp.
So there's the 2 ways you can set up the op amp. You can have the non-inverting and the inverting.
Right.
And they sound very different. I think that's what he's mean. If you connect it's like you take the output and connect directly to the input.
Oh, blimey, that's just reminded me. To you that was looking to replace your OCD earlier.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Sorry, Josh, we're not doing that just because you've posted, but there you go. That would sit very nice in place of an OCD, especially if you get the one that's got all the switches on it for the different options and things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Black Box Overdrive by Snails.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
David George, hey guys, have you used a Landgraf dynamic overdrive pedal, and how would you describe it as far as hard, soft clipping, mid-hump, symmetrical, asymmetrical? Thank you. I have used one. I don't know the circuit, but it was one of the best sounding higher gain overdrives that I had used up to that point. I used it in conjunction with another pedal to get like a really heavy, when I was doing loads of gigs. And then I thought I could get all those sounds out of a Rat, and it turns out I couldn't. But I don't know the circuit. I need to have a look at it. But
okay,
yes.
It's a hand-wired 3-knob overdrive with a switch to select different clipping diode options. The circuit's centered around the JRC 4558, which is the famous op amp from the Tube Screamer. The whole circuit is very much TS based, but fully point-to-point wired. Oh, that's interesting. So it sounds like it's a TS type, but with those switchable clipping diodes, which will give you varying.
Yeah. The high gain sounds I could get out of it were just awesome. So yes, I have used them. I know that they're expensive, but wonderful sounding thing, and it's one of the pedals I really regret getting rid of.
Yeah. Okay, we should acquire one.
Yeah.
Apparently they're super rare and about 500 euros or dollars or pounds. Jeffrey
great.
Farmer, I'm looking at the Orange Rocker 32 since it can do wet dry in 1 amp. It's a 2x10 combo, but I mainly play classic rock. Would the 210s handle that? Depends how loud you play. Depends whether it's mic'd. Depends on the band. If you can, Jeffrey, have a listen. Orange amps have a sound all their own.
Yeah.
They have a very unique gain structure. And it's, in the same way that you could say this is a Fender blackface sound, this is a Marshall plexi type sound, you can absolutely say that a lot of Orange amps this is the Orange amp sound, and you will either like it or you won't. So try it. If you mic up and play at normal volumes, yes, it's plenty loud enough.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Jake's Daddy 08, could I have a shout out for my fiance? We got engaged yesterday.
Yay!
I want to thank her for her love and support. Couldn't have got through it without her and regular TPS episodes. Thanks, Ben and Dorothy. Mate, congratulations. That is awesome.
Congrats, Ben and Dorothy.
Yes. Who finds a wife finds a good thing.
That's an old Chinese proverb, is it?
No, I think it's biblical.
Yeah.
But it could be. Well done, mate. Congratulations. That's great.
Yeah.
Daniel Webb says, thanks, guys, for answering my question. One more question. Mick, why do you use a buffer with your Gretsch? I have a G6609TG center block with Fultrons.
It's not... why? Because the guitar's really quiet and those pickups are so quiet, they need a little kick just to bring them up to any of my other guitars. Normally I don't worry about that because I like the fact that the guitars are different and
Yeah.
you use them, but that one is so much quieter than the others.
It really is.
And it really lacks, it's going to get new pickups, that guitar. And it's gone on the list of guitars to get new pickups. I just need something with a bit more oomph, and the buffer, any sort of buffer brings just a bit of sparkle and presence back. Ideally, it wouldn't just be a buffer, it would be like a Hudson broadcast set really low.
Yeah.
Any booster that's just got a bit of presence about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lovely. David E. Fernandez. Thank you, David. He says, will I ruin my Boss reverb and delay pedals if I plugged into a line level plus 4 decibels?
No.
FX Loop, specifically a Soldano Hot Rod 50 head. No, absolutely not. You'll be absolutely fine. Just make sure that the pedals have got enough power, enough voltage and current, and make sure that the power supply to them is isolated, and you'll be absolutely fine.
Yeah. So when you're running line level is loud. Is that right?
Yeah. Line level is louder than instrument level.
You're sending more
voltage
to the pedal.
Yes.
Which means if the pedal's got some sort of input trim on it, you'd want to turn it down a bit.
It just depends on the headroom of the pedal.
Yeah.
It's like, why you can't put analog phases in the loop, for example. It'll just hit the rails too hard. However, Boss digital delays and reverbs do have a really high headroom at the input and can take those line level signals.
Yeah.
There are some pedals, like we were having a look at Mix. Was it the Lone Star that's got the different send and return levels for the effects loop? Effects loops are always tricky, but you should be fine.
Yeah.
Putting those.
I think it's a send level is what it has.
Right. But yeah, you should be absolutely fine putting those in the loop.
Yep. Steve Richardson, any news on the Andy Timmins gigs? At this point, Steve, they're towards the end of September. We have every hope that they're going to go ahead. We are in the hands of ye gods, unfortunately, about that. Things are changing. I don't know where. Presumably you're somewhere in the UK. As you will know if you watch the news, things are changing kind of daily. So, yeah.
Right. Drew Peacock says, how can I add a TC Mimic to both amps in wet dry? The TC Mimic being the dual thing that okay. So what you would need to do is, once you've done your wet dry split and you've got your dry signal path and your wet signal path, then you'd need to put the two ins from that into the Mimic and then two out, both amplifiers.
Exactly that. I think is the Mimic stereo in or is it only mono in?
That's a really good question. Is it here?
Yeah, I don't know. If it's stereo in, stereo out, what Dan said, put it straight after your split. If it's mono in, stereo out, then presumably you have to put it just before the split, do you, Dan?
You'd have to put it before the split.
Yeah.
So
which creates a problem.
Well, you could actually use that to split.
Yeah.
Because you've got the two stereo out. So actually use that as the splitter.
Yeah.
And then take the one side as your wet side. But you just remember you've got to isolate one of those sides.
Yeah, you may well need a humdinger as well or something similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that'd be a way to do it.
Andrew Tucker, oddball question. Have either of you ever had to sing or otherwise multitask while playing guitar? I'm a singer and unsure how to branch out on my guitar when I can't give it my full attention. Yes, Dan and I both sing and play.
Yes.
A lot. So, it's one of those things you just have to do.
Yep. It was actually of all my tips and suggestions about playing guitar, my number one tip is learn to sing. A, it's going to get you more gigs if you can sing and harmonise. But B, because your voice is like your natural built-in instrument, and learning to play songs and it's such a great way to improve your guitar playing.
I've never worked out why some things are easy to sing and play and some things are hard to sing and play.
Okay.
So, manic depression is touching my soul. I know what I want, but I just don't know.
Right.
I can sing and play that, no problem.
Yep.
Live, all good. Life in the fast lane.
because the rhythm. It's so
I cannot sing and play that.
because you got manic depression. That's all
Yeah.
based on the same rhythm. Dinky dinky ding ding. But that it is so unrelated to anything that you're singing.
Yeah.
If you watch any live footage of Sting playing,
Yeah.
and his voice and his bass playing are the two different people just sort of super glued together.
Yeah.
It's unreal. So when you're doing a song like that, like if you're doing Life in the Fast Lane, what you've got to do, slow it right down.
I can't do it.
It's really, really tricky, but it's a you know, if you're strumming something that's just a really basic rhythm, or the rhythm that you're doing is more associated with what you're singing rhythmically, it's easier. But yeah, when it gets tricky, it's tricky.
And then some things will just be straight call and response. She's walking through the clouds
Yeah, right.
with a circus mind. And you're delivering a line and then you're answering on the
yeah,
guitar.
beautiful.
And that's the other thing. That's a good place to start, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. And an acoustic guitar, strumming, again. Yeah, but
I need to call Johnny.
do a lot of it, because it takes you from being another guitar player to someone who's actually useful in a band.
Yep. Totally.
Yep.
I always said I wasn't never the greatest guitar player, but because I could sing and I could harmonise, always got gigs.
Yeah, yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Andy Sandor says, why I love TPS. I asked about buying a second delay pedal, Kilobyte, and your answer was to buy a third jam pedal Dalai Lama.
We're sure the Kilobyte's awesome, just never tried it, that's all. I can't recommend something we've never tried before. But yeah, absolutely.
Oh, far out, Lion Wolf. Thanks for your advice, guys. I just bought the 64 SG Junior. Man alive. Feel a bit scared if I'll miss the neck pickup and if it's worth all my savings. Okay, all I will say is I can do an entire gig with my Junior and never want for any other guitar. You'll be stunned at the sounds that you can get out of that single P90. It's incredible.
Yeah. I did very quick one. I did a function gig with Robbie McIntosh once, and I turned up with my giant pedal board, 3 guitars. It was a wedding gig, weirdly, and through some mutual friends, we both ended up playing. He turns up, same guitar as that,
Really?
about 3 pedals, simple amp, and proceeded to get this many sounds all night. Where
Yep.
Lee Golder music. Oh, thank you, Joe Threfor.
Oh, thank you, mate.
Thank you, Joe. Lee Golder music. Hey guys, great show. I've inherited a few drive pedals and would like some advice on order. TS808 Tube Screamer, BD2 was a Blues driver, a Gold Clone clone, a Plimsoll, and a Durple. Playing a 355 and Pink Paisley into a Vox AC30. Yeah, you might not want to use all of them. Would be my advice. For me personally, AC30s and Tube Screamers, never a thing. For Brad Paisley, works perfectly.
Yeah, it's a tricky combination.
Seeing as you mentioned the Paisley there, so you've got to listen to them, haven't you?
I mean, we've done loads of shows on pedal order before, but it still seems to be a question that a lot of people have. So I think with our new graphic technology,
Yes.
I think we can explore that a bit more and do like a not a definitive but reasonably all-encompassing show on the order, because it's a question that keeps coming up and keeps coming up. So it's
So the general advice is, if you take my way of doing things, lowest gain last. So all those pedals have a range of gain, and you might want to set them differently, but I'd have my most overdrivey thing first and my least overdrivey thing last, so it always gets louder. Dan does some of that, but tends to approach it from the opposite direction, where he likes his boosts and things to push the overdrive pedals for different textures of gain. So if texture is what you're all about, around about a similar volume, then put the gainier things later.
Yep.
If what you want is loud, loudest, loud, louder, loudest, please go home, which is what I want, then least gainy things last.
Yes, very good. Dan Hansen says, outstanding work, gentlemen. Can I get your thoughts on solderless DIY cable kits? Does gauge affect tone?
Well, that's interesting.
It's very interesting. Okay, so when we talk about cable capacitance, what you're talking about is the relationship between the inner core and the outer core, okay? The more distance there is between the inner core and the outer core, the less capacitance you're going to have. Some cables that have got these like really thin cables and thick cores can have more capacitance. Some, you know, I've played a cable years ago and the inner core was like hair thin, just to give as much space between the inner core and the outer core for less capacitance.
These are the lowest capacitance cables I own.
Right.
Really fat cable.
Right.
And tiny.
Right, that's a perfect example. Okay, so if you have a look at that relationship between the distance between what's going on, the center, the hot cable, and the shield, there's a lot.
The shield around that center cable, or at least the insulation around the center cable, is as thick as most guitar leads.
Yeah, and so that's why it's so low capacitance.
Yeah,
because of that relationship. So, yes, of course, that's important. I was playing this weekend, and I had the coily cable that Josh sent us, and I'm playing and thinking it sounds great, but there's something there, and I grabbed out my old trusty George L cable that I've had must be 20 years. Plugged it in, and all this top end and everything comes racing back. So the one issue I have with the George L's and those sorts of things is when I made them, I was never, because they had a pin going into those braids of wire. I was never really sure how good that connection was, whether the pin was right in the center of the cable or whether it's on the outside. The reason that we use the Evidence Audio SIS is because that center cable is actually copper. It's like a single thick thing of copper, and that screws into the tip of your jack plug. And then you wrap your shield around it, and that just fits snugly into it. It's a really strong connection, but as soon as you screwed it on, you know how good that connection is. So. But loads of people, I mean, man, the argument with solderless stuff is ridiculous. You look at people who use solderless cable. George L's been used by David Gilmour and Eric Johnson, and there's loads of people that have got great results. I've put together touring boards of people who love it and have toured all around the world with it. Like I did. I remember doing the first board for Mark Johns, who used it all the time, and loved it. So it just depends. I mean, it can work fine. For me, it's a mental thing.
Yeah.
Because I just never really knew how good that connection was. And there are people who have had problems with it.
Yeah.
There are people who had problems with solderless,
Yeah.
I would much rather have a solderless cable put together by someone who knows what they're doing with a solderless cable than someone who's put down soldered cables who doesn't know what they're doing.
The question about does gauge affect tone if you've got a small pedal board, I think it's negligible.
Sure.
If you've got a huge amount of cable run because you've got a big Schmidt array board and you're running all the way from the front all the way over to the back, so you've got meters of cable in your board, yes, it will affect tone. But short runs, it's negligible at that point,
Yeah.
would you say?
Yeah. If you're doing, yeah.
Everything
matters. Especially if you've got... The problem then comes in if you've got a standard pedal board where you've got just things changing one after the other, and then all that stuff and the gauge and that sort of stuff comes into play. But as long as the cable is good, so don't forget, as soon as you turn the pedal on, then all the capacitance after that is driven from the output impedance of the pedal that's on, right? So if your only pedal that is on is the last pedal in the chain, then your signal's got to go through all that stuff to get to the last pedal in the chain, which is why, like, having a buffer after your drive section can be a really good thing. And it just keeps, if you've got, 3 or 4 drive pedals, then your signal is only ever going through those 3 or 4 drive pedals before it hits the buffer, before it gets that impedance driven. Everything matters. Everything matters. However, if it's, really short cable runs and, you don't have a stupid amount of pedals, then, yeah.
Negligible. Simon Mastro Matteo. Hello, Simon. Hope you're well. He says, "What's up? Remember
What's up?
Remember the old Chameleons? What's the Budweiser adverts?
Yeah, right.
What's up? I feel I become a different player as I change my overdrive texture.
Yes.
Very interesting how a simple change of texture makes you go in different directions without even thinking about it. Yeah, totally. I've been having that experience just recently, using more tweedy things and more aggressive sounds.
That's why we love the pedals. That's why we, because you find the pedals that you connect with and it draws different things out of you. It's wonderful. So yeah, totally agree. So
Souls the Goal says, "I'm poor, so I can't super chat." Thank you for even thinking about it. And sorry, we have to prioritize we do have to prioritize the things. But you say, Souls the Goal says, "They haven't done a phaser episode for years. Could you point this out, BV?"
Okay, point it out.
Point it out.
And there are some good ones out there. So yes, we're going to make that happen. Jolly Willard, thank you, Jolly. He says, "Got to celebrate. My studio is reopening for recording and rehearsal July 1st. Awesome. Thanks for these Mondays, TPS crew. Grateful to learn and feel connected." We are so grateful to feel connected to everyone that's out there. We've got 1,000 people on with us today. It's unreal.
It is absolutely unreal.
And we really appreciate you guys coming out to hang with us on Mondays. It's we both really look forward to this, especially at the moment when, with all the stuff that's going on, just coming out to hang out with you guys is awesome. So yeah, thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Phil Mingan says, "Hey guys, I'm replacing an 8-spoke speaker in my deluxe reverb reissue with a 4-hole Celestion speaker."
Oh, that's interesting.
Okay, yeah. Do I drill 4 new holes in the speaker? No. You should still be able to line them up.
Yeah, four screws should be enough.
Absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Don't drill into the speaker into the
Yeah. Just use 4 screws.
Use 4 screws. It's absolutely fine.
And they should fit.
Yep.
Right. Vipas Patil. Hi, Vipas.
Hello.
Hey, gents. Hope you're fine. I'm using a Keeley chorus and struggling to get an 80s style crystalline sound. Seems that the chorus is adding some gain and taking off the top end. Any tips? Okay, depends what the chorus is.
Yeah.
If it's voiced like a CE2, which it might be, or a CE1 analog chorus, that's exactly what's going to happen. There's definitely a bit of a mid boost in that sort of circuit, especially the C2, and you'll hear it almost sounds like it's getting louder because it's boosting the mid range. So it's not really voiced for that. If you want the 80s chorus sound, do yourself a favor and buy the Boss Dimension C Wazzer. That is the 80s chorus sound. Or any chorus that calls itself a tri-chorus. So the other one that's really great is the New Neighbor Inspire. Is really fantastic. And if that's all a bit pricey, check out the TC Electronic Third Dimension.
Yep.
Which for the money it costs will give you that really sparkly. Or failing that, Boss do the other choruses that came after the CE2, so whatever that is, the CE68 by now probably.
Sure.
The digital chorus, and that's that sound.
Right.
Yep. Yeah. Unless the Keeley's got some controls on it or a mode switch in which you can change it. So apologies for not knowing the answer to that. But
yes, because loads of different chorus sounds as well. Listen to a CE1 chorus sound, and that's a whole other thing. But yeah, the classic 80s sparkly thing, the Dimension C
is the sound.
BV
has said, Dan, the KTR is SMD, but
Aha!
diode's a through hole. I'm not saying anything. Let's move on.
There you go. Patrick Carroll, hey boys, I hope you know the impact you're making. Oh,
thanks, Patrick.
Fantastic, Patrick. That's very kind, mate. Thank you. Okay, Fender Jeff. Hey guys, love the show. Can we get a wet dry version of the pedal mug? Thanks. do a little wet dry diagram.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah,
that's a
that'd be
great idea.
Yeah.
Thank you for that idea, Fender Jeff. And when we do it, please send us an email and we will send you one for £0.
Awesome. Tom Snyder. Oh my goodness. Well, Tom, that's very generous, mate.
Blimey,
Thank you
Tom,
so much.
Thank you. That's crazy generous.
Wow. He says, cheers. I run a wet, dry, wet. Very nice. Hot Rod Deluxe, Sir SL67 and a Sir Bella.
Oh my goodness.
I split the signal with a Lale split. That takes care of the phase on one wet amp and the dry amp. The other stereo wet amp comes from the timeline. How do I make sure the phase is right on that amplifier? Okay. So you've split, you've got your dry amplifier. Then after that, you've got your timeline stereo outs going to your two wet amplifiers. So you've got your dry amplifier, and then you can change the phase, the relative phase from the dry amplifier. So here's what you do. Take your if you've only got one isolation device, okay, and you want to check the phase on 3 amplifiers, you just need to break it down. So you grab your on the Lale, it'll tell you with the button whether it's in phase or whether it's out of phase. Okay, so if you get those 2 amplifiers and the first two, the left, say, and the dry, and with the Lale split, you get them, you find out which is the combination to get them in phase, okay? And if on the button it says that it's in phase, then you can take the same, you just unplug that, now turn on the other side of the stereo and use the same signal, use the same process, but use the dry amplifier as your main amplifier, and then see if the other side is in phase or out of phase. Now, if it's in phase, then you're fine. You don't need to do anything. If it is out of phase, that gives you the bigger sound. And by the way, if the center amplifier and the second stereo thing is in phase, then the second stereo amplifier should be in phase with the first stereo amplifier. And you can check that again with your Lale split, right? And once you've found out that everything's in phase, then you're fine just to connect the cable to it and away you go. If, however, the other amplifier is out of phase, what you can do is change the speaker terminals on the amplifier.
Good shout.
Because you flip that around and then it flips the phase of the amp. So because you've only got one split device, you're only isolating one amplifier, but with the stereo amplifiers and you're coming out of the timeline stereo, if you're not getting an earth loop and you've worked out that everything's in phase, fine. But if you've worked out that the second stereo amplifier is out of phase, just flip the terminal. If it's a single speaker, all you got to do is flip the terminals on one speaker. If you're running a head to a cab and you've got, say, 2 cabs, what you can do with your speaker lead is flip the terminals like inside the speaker lead. So if you've got, like, say you've got a red and a blue wire going red, tip, blue, earth, then you go on the other side, go blue, tip, red, earth, and that will change the phase to the cabinet. Boom.
Bingo.
There you go.
Yeah, or you can use a phase flip device on each of the 3 amps.
Yeah, that's probably the easier, safer way to do it. But there's nothing wrong with changing the phase on the speakers because it's coming after the output transformer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aaron Singh says, evening chaps, the tone from the Klon on Friday means my Ryra may move on to my main board.
Yes.
I know you guys are a fan, but is it wired the same as a Klon or does it just sound similar? Also, still in search for a Prince of Tone. Are there any pedals that are similar or is it just GOAT?
Is it just, it's the GOAT. The GOAT is the like the one that rules all. It's like
I see.
Yeah, it's like it's the GOAT.
Yeah. Okay, we'll come to the Prince of Tone in a sec. Right. Is that wired the same as a Klon? Looks very similar to me. You've got the 3 chips.
Yep.
You've got a pair of germanium diodes in there.
Yep.
Is that a dual gang
The giveaway is look at the gain pot, and that is a dual gang pot. So if we just hold it up to the camera.
So here we go.
That is the way.
When you look inside the Klon, you'll see actually 2 pots that are stacked, but that's obviously a space-saving dual pot, is it?
Yeah,
One?
yeah.
Yeah. In the Klon, it's 2 pots on top of one another, but
It's the same thing. It's just,
Yeah.
yeah, the pots are stacked.
3 of those op amps, 2 germanium diodes in there, and then we assume, I mean, it's called the clone, so we're going to assume it's a very similar circuit. Certainly sounds and feels very
It's-
similar.
Awesome. It's
Yeah.
such a great sounding thing.
Prince of Tone.
Prince of Tone. So, I mean,
What's the Prince of Tone? Basically,
it's one side of the King of Tone. I'm surprised you can't get them. I know that
blues breaker derived, yeah?
Yeah.
But not a blues breaker.
not a blues breaker. It's heavily inspired by the blues breaker.
Not least because they use the 4558 chip, don't they? Pretty sure mine does.
I'm not sure. Okay,
Pretty sure mine does. Let's have a look. I'll tell
let's
you.
have a look. All right, there we go. While you're getting that off,
Yeah. So we'll come back to that.
come back to that one. Personal Nadir says, any tips for an incorrigible noodler? I'm failing to tie arpeggios into my major scale doodling. Next step, aimlessly trawling the scale. Okay, right. Here you go. You can take it off.
I'll take that off.
Right.
You give the guitar lesson, Dan.
Okay. So, if you're trying to tie your arpeggios together, you need to approach it in the sense that makes music. Okay, so for example, if I'm all right, so let's say I'm working on my major scale, right? And I can sit there going, okay, major arpeggio,
Dan, a man, a male man.
then minor arpeggio.
Nick, we're really not quite sure.
minor arpeggio, major arpeggio.
Simon, a beard, a massive beard. Fraser, lying on the floor.
So the thing is, if you're working out your arpeggios,
4558D.
nice.
Yeah, so tube screamer chip. In the King of Tone. Sorry, I'll shut up.
Okay, so you can sit down and work out all your arpeggios based on just going up the scale, and that's arguably a good exercise. Or you can do something musical with it. So, for example, if I'm looking at doing a 2/5 in the key of A, so B minor to E7 to A, so which is your B, your 2, your B minor, then your 5, then A. So, and the thing is that 2/5 will work even if I'm just playing the A chord. Instead of just doing I mean, that's all fun, but you can then stick that 2/5 just over that progression. So 2/5s are a really great way to tie those arpeggios together. So, Taylor.
I got a question. Can you just explain to me briefly, confirm or deny, a 2/5
Yep.
means you play the 2 and the 5 of the chord you're aiming for.
So it can be the chord. If I'm using the 2/5 as a turnaround, yes. But if I'm using the 2/5 to embellish the thing I'm on, then I can just play a 2/5. If I'm in A, I can just play a 2/5 in A,
Yeah.
right? Which would be the B minor, and the 5 would be the E7.
And what's your context here? We're just talking about being on one chord.
So what I'm trying to do there is make the single chord I'm on more interesting.
If you're not following what 2/5 is, so if Dan is talking about A major, to take his example, the 2 chord of A major is B minor.
Yep. The 5 chord is an E7.
The 5 chord is E7.
Yep.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So
Yep.
the 2 and the 5. If you're playing in A, 2, 5.
Yep.
Sorry.
No, that's perfect. So 2/5s are a fantastic way to start getting into arpeggios, and then you can work out, and I've worked out this thing in minor chords where you've got the 2, which is a -7 /5, and E like a altered 7 sharp 9 thing to the minor chord. And I've worked out this thing that I love where I go, the minor chord, and then I do like a minor 6, which is a major 7 chord. But then I do this flat 5 to the 1 chord. So a major 7 arpeggio from the flat 5. So here's my 1. My 5. Then. So then you'll find these different arpeggios that will work over the changes, and then you don't need those changes behind you as you're playing, and you can infer those chords. It's awesome.
If your brain is exploding, Dan, just explain very briefly what an arpeggio is.
Okay. An arpeggio is the notes of the chord played individually. Okay, so if you think your chords are made up in thirds, so let's say you've got your triad, which is made so A major, da 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 da. There's your triad, right? And if we make that an arpeggio, which has got with the 4, which is the 7th, la da da da, major 7, dominant 7, la da da da. There's your dominant 7 arpeggio. Then minor 7 arpeggio, da 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 da. So
this is why it's important to know your chords, because if you know the chord you're playing, you can play the arpeggio, because all it is the notes in the chord.
Yep.
And for everyone out there who's going, how do I play more melodic? You just play the notes in the chords.
Yeah.
There's nothing hard about it at all. So when everyone starts banging on about modes and all this stuff and learning it, it's no. Just rewind. Just play the notes in the chord. Just try that. There's melody.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then you can worry about all your blooming modes and Phrygian and your Dorians and all that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hope that helps, personal Nadir. I'm going to do some more vlogging on that stuff, but yeah, not at the moment. Okay, it's after 7. We're going to have to wrap up.
Have we missed anybody?
I don't think so. Josh Casper, sending good vibes to you two, the Sam and Dean Winchester of the guitar effects world. Just saying thanks for being such awesome guys. Thank you, Josh. We really appreciate that, mate. That's very kind. And Music Therapy Laz says it's all about the hang. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Thank you for being with us and
totally
doing exactly that. Somebody, I'm going to answer one more question, which was about a 2-rock, which was, and I've lost it. Anyway, somebody, and I apologise that I've lost it because it's disappeared. Oh, hang on. William Whitty. We've missed William Whitty. Hey guys, need to replace my Death by Audio Evil Fuzz. Sounds great, but only one knob, so it's too loud for apartment playing. Can you recommend a gainy, nasty fuzz that will also clean up very well? Oh, that's a problem.
As soon as you say clean up, that's when you're going to run into issues.
It becomes a problem.
Can you not put a little volume pedal after the fuzz? I don't know. It's really tricky. If that's the sound if that nails that sound for you, and you get clean up,
you stick any other overdrive pedal after it and turn the volume right down.
That'll do it.
That might be the best way to do that.
Yeah. Or have a chat to the guys from Death by Audio.
Yeah,
they're awesome, and I'm sure they'll put a volume pot at the end of that for you.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. Right, and also Richard Henry. He said, I met Mick once.
Hey, Richard.
Gave him a handout to his car after the Cream 68 gig at Bristol Blues and Jazz Fest. I
Bless
was there,
you. Thank
and
you.
that was awesome. Nearly met Dan. He was standing behind me filming Josh's soundcheck. Never seen him behind me.
That was really good fun, that Cream 68 gig.
You played your backside off. You were epic. It was great. There's a clip of that floating around somewhere, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really awesome. Right, there we go.
Sorry I didn't get to the 2-rock question. You had a 2-rock 35 and you wanted to get another amp to add for home playing. Would a Princeton work? Yes, a Princeton will always work with everything, in my opinion.
Yep.
Because the thing that the 2-rock amp has over your standard blackface amp is it has mid-range.
Yeah, right.
And I think a Princeton would be a great pairing for a Studio Pro 35.
Yep, awesome.
Yep.
cheers, people. Thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Thank you for being with us.
Yes, thank you for everyone that super chatted and everyone that's gone to thatpedalshowstore.com and checked out the shirts and all that stuff. But thank you for sending you loads of love. Take care of yourselves. Be good to each other. And yeah, be good. We'll see you again next week.
Friday is 10 things you asked us to try.
Yes, awesome.
But not that.
All right, cheers, guys.
But
Bye.
we won't do that.